for Kael'thas.
Almost thought I was going to miss his voice for a second there. Okay, hello again and welcome back to Stormwalk. Today we're going to be taking a look at Kael'thas, the Sun King. World of Warcraft. In Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne, he was like the amazing, like you rooted for this guy. Then he became an asshole. Yeah, stuff happens.
Do not waste time. Join me in battle.
Shh, I'm talking. We'll join in battle soon. So, you can take a moment to read his lore. We'll take a moment to look at his character. As you can see, he's wearing his big, thick robe, which doesn't actually seem to have a lot of flow. He has these nice little orbs above him, which are, well, interesting, but not really all that. It'd be nice if his robe would kind of fly up, but it doesn't seem to. You can see here, they have a whole new system. The game's actually going to be being released next month. So this is probably what you'll be seeing when you get in, if you're not in already. So let's start with his Q, Flame Strike. Actually, let's start with his passive, his trait, Verdant Spears. Has a 6-second cooldown on its activatable ability.
Join me in battle.
And every 6 seconds you can make your next attack more powerful, often with new individual traits. So, with his Q, has a 7-second cooldown, and after a short delay it deals damage in an area. This is a circular attack. When the Verdant Sphere... Okay, I suck at Spanish. When the green circles, or balls, or spheres, or whatever you want to call them, activate, you can increase the radius by 50%, and it deals just under double damage. Actually, I think that's roughly an additional 50% in damage as well. I'm too lazy to do the math on that. Someone else check me. Living Bomb. It has a 10-second cooldown.
Time. Join me in battle.
It has a 10-second cooldown. It deals damage over time, and then explodes at the end. So it lasts for 3 seconds. It deals 60 damage over 3 seconds, so 20 damage a second. And then it explodes for 30 damage and hits all of the nearby enemies. Casting a second Living Bomb on an enemy causes the previous Living Bomb to explode immediately. When I get to some of his traits, you can see, like, that's an ability that can devastate. Yeah, that ability's kind of fucking overpowered right now, but we'll talk about that in-game. When you activate the Verdant Spheres, the ability costs nothing. Has no mana cost, has no cooldown reduction cost. So you'll
time. Join me in battle.
If you have nothing better to do, nothing else, pop your D always before you drop your W, so you can at least always get that extra explosion off. You can guarantee a Living Bomb explosion when you want it, and where you want it. If you drop it into a minions, you could drop one into the melee minions, one into the ranged minions. Although more likely you'd probably be better off just double tapping the mage minion. But yeah, we can talk about that more in match. Gravity Lapse. 13-second cooldown. It's a skill shot, and it stuns the first enemy you hit for 1.5 seconds. Using the Verdant Spheres allows it to stun multiple enemies.
Do not waste time. Join me in battle.
His heroic abilities are Phoenix. You launch a Phoenix to an area. It will deal damage, and it persists for 7 seconds. So when you summon it, it deals damage, and then it will attack. And it deals 50% splash damage. It basically is a turret. It's an ultimate turret. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Then you have Pyroblast. Pyroblast has a 50-second cooldown. I didn't mention that one has a 40-second cooldown, sorry. Pyroblast has a 50-second cooldown. It has a 2-second casting time. You select an enemy, and if you ever play StarCraft 2, This is very similar to
Do not waste time.
Seeker missiles.
Join me in battle.
The Raven's Raven Seeker missile takes 2 seconds to cast, and then it will slowly move towards the enemy and hit them for a ton of damage. But if they're a mobile enemy and aren't being stunned, they can just GTFO. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at his skins. So, you have the Sun King skin, and color variations. You have Master skin, along with color variations. I really like the red Master skin. I mean, I know, like, one thing I do like about his Master skin is most of his Master skins seem to be, like, variations on his actual skins.
Do not waste time. Join me in battle.
And as you've probably noticed from some of my other videos, a lot of people miss that. But he also has this nice steampunk, or stormpunk, Kael'thas. One thing I like about this one is it actually kind of goes into his high elf roots with the dark hair and bright eyes, as opposed to his light hair and green eyes with all his other skins. Although he does have that in this one. So I'm going to be using the Stormpunk dark red variation when I test this, and I'll show you this in a moment. I also want to say that due to this new version, you now have this little, I guess, quick snip, which is basically the same thing as the About page. It's just lined up from top to bottom, and it kind of gives a small briefing of it without the small summary of who he is. So these pages are basically the same. And the talent page is basically the same as it was. However, as you can see here, the talents
in battle
now have little indicators to show you what they actually do. So let's go ahead and try out this.
Feast your eyes on this.
So, as always, we're going to kind of show him off a little bit. So, his Q, Simple Fireball. His DQ, Bigger Fire Circle. His E, Tornado. His DE is a Fail Tornado.
And Kael'thas.
And let's go ahead and toggle minions. His W is a targeted ability. So you can target, let's pick Arthas, and just drop it on people. As you can see, although he's not the most powerful guy out there, he does have a ton of AoE. A decently powerful stun.
Thank you.
I almost killed Arthas. I'll kill him just to be nice. He has a decently powerful stun, a rather decent AoE setup. All in all, he's got some pretty nice maneuverability. His Q at level 1 does 94 damage, and it boosts up to 141 damage. I'm not level 1, am I? Wait, I'm confused. These stats were completely different on the previous page. That is interesting. It's 94 damage and 141 damage when activated, or when charged. His Living Bomb does 78 damage with a 39 damage explosion, and his stun is a 1.5 second stun. Let's take a look at his stats. He has 740 hit points with a 1.54 regeneration, 500 mana points with a 3-point regeneration, has an attack range of 5.5, attack damage of 39, an attack speed of 1.11 attacks per second, and let's go ahead and start boosting. You can see the jumps he's making and each of his stats. Well, each of the 4 stats that go up. Well, never mind, there's 5 stats that go up. So now you can see at level 30 he has 4,510 HP with a 9.36 regeneration. 790 mana with a 5.83 regeneration. Man, that gets old fast. He now also does 271 damage. As an assassin, that's pretty decent numbers. They did do the assassins a little bit ago, so they were doing damage in the multiples of hundreds instead of just above 100. So I'm probably going to have to go back through and change some of the stats, or redo some of the stats with the previous assassins, but all in all, this is a pretty standard, but still, his stat scores are pretty standard, and his kit is a little bit of a mixture between a control assassin and a damage assassin. He has a lot of AoE attacks, but he also has a pretty powerful stun, and just the ability to charge randomly one of his attacks gives him basically 5 different attacks, or 5 basic attacks that you have to watch out for. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at his talents.
Very good.
Of course, for the first set, we're going to be doing the locked out top 2 sections. So, we have at level 1, Mana Addict. Increase your mana, or your maximum mana by 15 when you pick up a regeneration glove. Most of the time, I think this is probably going to be your go-to. It increases your mana, which in turn will increase your mana regeneration. I believe globes are percentage mana. If not, I'm sounding like an idiot. But still, more mana is never a bad thing. Conviction. Flame Strike now deals a bonus 20 damage per enemy that is stunned. So if you have an enemy who's been stunned by gravity lapse, they take 20 extra damage. A nice little assassin ability. Never a bad thing, just to jump in, stun, and boom. Remember that it doesn't quite show how long it takes, but it takes I want to say a good second or 2. Let's actually get some minions in here, and we'll kind of... It's like if we throw... Yeah, so... Let's go ahead and toggle them off. As you could see there, the E-Q combo, you actually would have to set up the... You actually have to set up the Q before you stun them with the E. Just simply the Q takes so long to charge. But it can be extremely powerful in setups. Then you have Energy Rails. Energy Lapses cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds for each enemy hit. It has a 13-second cooldown. One enemy would make 10 seconds. But remember that with Verdant Spheres, you can reduce that 3 seconds per enemy hit. If you hit all 3 enemies, that's 9 seconds. It's pretty good. And then Fail Infusion. Heal yourself whenever you activate Verdant Spheres. And since you'll be activating Verdant Spheres basically every 6 seconds, this is a constant heal. Personally, I like I'm going with Mana Addict. 1, because it spits in our top 2 lock. But also, I find mana to be a little more effective than health in this game for assassins. Mostly because 9 out of 10 times, assassin fights don't usually end in who loses health first. It's who runs out of mana first. There are some slight differences with that, like if you have somebody who's up in fast, like Illidan or Zeratul, they can pretty much kill you before you have a chance to react. But 9 out of 10 times, 2 assassins fighting, it seems mostly to come down to which one of them can't cast their big spell next.
Choose a fine addition to my arsenal.
At level 4, you have Mana Tap. Fell Strike restores 20 damage per enemy killed. Note that that's killed, not hit. Nether Wind increases Gravity Lapse's range and speed by 30%. And then you have the Gathering Power and Envenom basic abilities. Netherwind is probably one of the better choices here, out of all three of them, or all four of them. Mana Tap isn't bad. I mean, it's a nice little heal, and you can, like, we're at level 30, so take this little bit with a grain of salt. But that's a minion wave. Of course, at lower levels, it's not quite as effective, but you're still walking through minions with your Flame Strike being Verdant Flame Strike. So yeah, but Netherwind increases the time of the stun
Choose a talent.
and its length. So as you can see, I like stunning a little more effective than a little bit of extra health. Now, next we have at level 7, Fission Bomb. Increases Living Bomb's explosion damage by 75%. Sunfire Enchantment. Activating the Verdant Spheres causes your next attack to instead shoot a spell that does bonus damage. Tri-Optimal. Reduces Verdant Spheres cooldown by 2 seconds per target hit with Gravity Lapse. And Clairvoyance, general ability. Do note that Energy Royal and Tri-Optimal can be taken together. Although I'm not sure if we'll have to check that one out next. I'm not sure if they work completely well together. One great thing about Sunfire Enchantment,
Choose a talent.
Power flows through me.
Is
It shall be done.
you can notice that my orbs or my spheres are active when they turn green. So, by activating this, I do get an attack, but I can still use my spell. Give me a second. The orbs. So, I can activate my orbs, use them, and then still get the Verdant spell out of it, so it doesn't use up their activatable, it just gives you bonus. And as I said, you're going to constantly be spamming that ability. So it's pretty amazing.
Choose a talent.
Exhilarating.
Now, for Phoenix,
Of the sun.
it's a thrown ability. Lasts for a couple of seconds.
So be
And so throw it into a fight. As you can see, they're pretty strong. And, I mean, of course, this is at level 30, so it's really strong, but it's a nice little turret. You get that thing thrown out in the middle of a fight. You can throw it, like, if you're not in the middle of fights, you can just throw this thing at an enemy tower as you're walking by to get a mercenary or a dozen other things. Okay, continuing on at level 13. Flamethrower. Increases the cast range of Flame Strike by 50%. Chain Bomb. Living Bomb's explosion spreads living bombs. Basically, when the living bomb explodes, all targets hit get a living bomb on them. And then Pyromaniac. Every tick of living bomb's damage over time effect. No. Every tick of living bomb's damage over time effect reduces basic abilities cooldown by 1. If you could get both of these at the same time somehow, you'd be broken and you could walk in and just destroy everything instantly. But I'm going to go with Chain Bomb.
Choose a talent.
Now, if you would have taken like Fission Bomb earlier, that 75 extra damage, as nice as that is, I would actually suggest not doing that. Because Chain Bomb does a huge amount of damage, but you're level 16 or 13 when you get this. So let's go ahead and just toggle minions real quick. So yeah, first minion gets hit. Now all of them have it, and they're spreading it. Let's go ahead and toggle them again, just Like, just the amount of damage that goes off right there, it is impressive. So, and if you can get that to kind of stack multiple times, you have one bomb that goes off that infects 3 other people, and then those 3 bombs go off, which reinfects each other and infects other people. You could get something nice going on. Now, at level 16, you have Ignite. Flame Strike also applies Living Bomb to heroes. Let that sink in for a second. Yeah. Backdraft, Living Bomb's explosion will slow movement speed. Gravity Throw increases the duration of Gravity Lapse's stun by 33% and causes it to instantly kill minions. And Arcane Barrier, a Ice Shield equivalent, gain 200% gain a shield for 200% of your maximum mana. This is a general talent, but his special variation of it. We're going to go with Ignite.
Choose a talent.
So, as you can see here,
Indeed.
I'm just going to drop a fireball. And just from 2 spells, you can see just how devastating this can be. Okay, at level 20,
prevail.
Rebirth. Increases Phoenix duration by 100%. You may order your Phoenix to move to a different location once while the Phoenix is still alive. Not exactly sure what that has to do with rebirthing or Phoenixes, but it's still kind of awesome. He also has the Bolt of the Storm and Arcane Power general abilities. Not all that good, but eh. So, Rebirth.
Wouldn't have it any other.
Cast your bird. Move it. And wait for it to die. And note that any time during its now 14-second lifespan, you can move it. So, you can throw it here, wait till it takes up this tower, and just throw it over there. Go ahead and refresh Forts real quick. Now, one thing I do want to show, this is a graphical bug, or not graphical bug, but mechanical bug I have noticed with the Phoenix. So, using the clear cooldowns button, so this most likely will not happen in-game, although with the whole the Nazebo having multiple Gargantuans bug that was happening a little while back, it might. But Phoenix, and then clear cooldown Phoenix, and as you see, there's now a sleeping Phoenix where I was. That does not have a life timer.
The power of the sun.
And I'll show you why that is kind of a problem as soon as I'm done showing you combat effectiveness. Okay, so now to kind of talk about combat effectiveness, blah blah blah. Go in, I'm gonna come in with Malfurion. Nice little stun. he is somehow not dead. That's bugging me.
That was rather entertaining.
Now, as you can see, kind of overpowered, so... Something about the way they've set up the...
We will not be stopped.
Something weird about the way they set up the new test. Forts are really, really weak. I'm not sure if that's just because you're level 30, and, like, you're not fighting them until level 30, or what, but... They just feel really weak in this mode. So I'm gonna go ahead and reset the forts real quick.
Of the sun.
A fine choice.
Okay, so as you can see, from my little phoenixes,
The Phoenix God, Allah.
sadly enough, this has a forever time limit. But they last 14 seconds right now.
Indeed.
Just gonna go heal real quick while 14 seconds passes. As you can see, this one down here is still kind of in flight mode. Now, if this glitch does happen, you basically end up in a situation where you have permanent Phoenix. Now, yes, as you've seen, using the Phoenix in certain ways sometimes will knock them into where they are now using up a timer. But
It shall be done. By the power of the sun.
most of the time it doesn't. Now let me wait for this one to die. Okay. So as you can see, this one still doesn't have its timer. I've thrown him around like 3 different times.
Very good.
And even the ones that are laying down will get up and start attacking. Without their timer, they're kind of broken. They're a constant source of damage. They do 250 damage a hit. They attack rapidly at that. So yeah.
We are victorious.
Small little bug, but probably won't come in contact with that in the majority of the game. This time we're going to go ahead and just run through real quick. I think I've spent a little more time than I usually do with this guy. Or maybe that's just feeling. Something weird about this guy, like, he's really fun to play. Albeit I've only done him in trial mode and stuff, but he's really fun to play. But he does have some...
A fine choice.
He feels like he takes a while to play. So this time we're going to go with Energy Royal.
Choose a talent.
Will do for
Netherwind.
now.
Tri-Optimal.
How exhilarating.
Pyroblast. After 2 seconds, cast a slow-moving fireball that deals tons of damage. We'll take any of these. I'm going to go with Pyromaniac just because it lowers cooldowns.
Choose a talent.
And Gravity Throw. So, to show the Pyroblast,
It shall be done.
it must target a enemy hero. You charge up, throw it, it explodes, hits for massive damage. Pretty simple, for the most part. Presence of Mind increases the explosion radius by 50% and reduces its cooldown by 10 seconds per enemy hit. It has a 50-second cooldown, so if you hit the entire team, you could, in theory, double, triple, quadruple tap this thing. If, like, well, I mean, I doubt you're actually going to be able to have more than... Let's see, if you hit the same guy twice, I don't think there's anybody with more than 8,000 health. and most enemies will probably die after 1 or 2 of these things. So, but if you can hit all 5 of them somehow, you could technically throw this out constantly. Okay, now we did pick up another. We have the Energy Royal, reduces the cooldown by 3 seconds for each enemy hit, and reduces the cooldown by 2 seconds for each enemy hit. Although it says them both in 2 different ways. I wonder if they, like, we're going to try to find out if they stack here. So we're going to activate the Verdant Sphere so we can hit all 3 of them. Yeah, so as you can see, it doesn't quite work. So one of them overwhelms the other one.
World is upside down.
But
And no one Kael'thas.
yes, as you can see, although one of them does overlap the other one, you're still getting a massive stun for, like, with a 13-second cooldown stun with a 3-second cooldown. So I would like to know, like, let's see here. So you're reducing it by 9 seconds from Energy Royal, so Tri-Optimal is probably the one that's not coming through. So you could end up replacing that with the Sunfire Enchantment, or even Living Bomb. So we do something like...
Very good.
Do note that your Verdant Spheres does not work.
Well fought.
Do not work on your Verdant Spheres do not work on your ultimate ability, so there is that. And I've just killed this guy like a dozen times with this, so we're just gonna go ahead and walk through and kind of show a little bit of combat effectiveness. Since Pyroblast can only be used on enemy heroes, it does come into a small hole when you're actually wanting to use it against buildings or whatnot, because it just can't. However, it is pretty strong for what it does, and what it does is blow up enemy heroes. And you don't really lack a lot of dropping ability, especially with Living Bomb, like with Pyromaniac. I can sit here, just multiple Living Bombs, and I gain cooldown reduction based off of Living Bomb. Which in turn helps me stun and just destroy the enemy. Oh, that is new. One thing I do like about this new patch, which I've never noticed up until now, and I must be an idiot for not noticing. The enemy Moonwells are now red. Minor difference, but I enjoy it. Do note, as I've said it, or I said it in the pre-thing, or yeah, as I said when I was talking about it the first time, due to the fact that enemies can move, a smart enemy could, in theory, just walk out. Say if you like end up picking somebody up on the edge, takes 2 seconds, they could turn around and walk out. I'm guessing that any type of disillusion or yeah, pretty much anything that would stop you from being able to target them would stop you from being able to lock you in. So a blink, a teleport, a invisibility, invulnerability, anything like that would probably stop Pyroblast in its tracks. Anyway, this was Kael'thas, and yeah. See if this is in here yet. I am not disappointed. I am not disappointed by that dance. Anyway, I hope this was informative and enjoyable, and I'll see you next time. Have a nice day.